Well, good morning. How are you all today? It's barely morning. I'm getting a late start because we had some carpet delivered. If you hear a bunch of pounding upstairs or whatever, we're having new carpet laid. Uh, my office is in the bunker where it ought to be, so I can continue putting out valuable content even when it all comes crashing down, right? So they're up there pounding away, putting in brand new carpet. So that'll be the noise. And my dog may be barking at him when he sees him every now and then. He comes up to the window and he looks at him and says, "Those people aren't supposed to be here." And he starts barking. And one of the guys, I swear, one of the guys, for those of you who know Rob Painless, you ever watch Rob Painless? He doesn't put a lot of stuff out much anymore, but I know, Rob, you watch every now and then. I saw a comment not too long ago from you. This guy looks exactly like Rob Painless, and a great guy too. Kelly's up there just having a great time talking to him while I hear him laughing and everything. Okay, what is the economy collapsing? I keep hearing on, well, various news outlets and other channels that the economy is collapsing. Okay, all sorts of things. Is it collapsing? Well, the answer is no. But I want to tell you why you shouldn't care. Now that sounds strange, right? I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't care. And an economic collapse can happen several different ways. In some ways, if you're prepared, it can be very good for you. Is that a surprise? Okay, it depends on how you are. Now, some of you who think, I won't say you, some people who think they're very prepared for an economic collapse, it's going to be really bad for them. Some who are simply prepared, it's going to be pretty good. We'll get to that in a second. Oh, by the way, I just put up, and what brought me to do this was I was flipping through this morning's stuff, YouTube, and at the beginning of every day, by the way, welcome to everybody who's new. Great to have you here. At the beginning of every day, I put up on the Patreon channel a saying, a scripture, or something like that. And the one that I put up today was, "Your greatest weapon is your mind. Train it to see opportunities, not obstacles." And I would say that that's probably a the greatest divide within the preparedness world. I won't really call it a community because it's not a community. In the preparedness world, is those who see opportunities versus those who see obstacles. And I've said this a million times, right? Whenever anything comes down the road, do you see it as a problem, or do you see it as a learning experience, something to be simply to be dealt with as a result of your experience, your knowledge, your preparedness, whatever, and as a result of dealing with that obstacle or situation or so-called problem, you're going to get better at something. You're going to get stronger at something or better at something or whatever. So that's the difference, okay? Now, the next thing that I ran across was something, and I'm going to preface this by saying I am not a big fan of Dave Ramsey. I know that's horrible. People are going to say, "How can you not be a fan of Dave Ramsey?" Well, that'd take me an hour to explain that. But something came up on his channel, and it said, "Preparing for societal collapse." And I said, "Well, I'm going to watch that," because I saw a picture of two guys on there. I think one of them is his son-in-law. I'm not sure. I'm not all into Dave Ramsey. But he kind of threw me off when he started introducing his daughter and other people as Ramsey personalities. "Hello, I'm Dave Ramsey, and with us is whoever it is, Ramsey personality." I think that's a little out there. But anyway, so these two guys on, I said, I'm going to listen to see what Dave Ramsey kind of people talk about in societal collapse. So I did. And it was good. It was good. And so I put that up on the Patreon channel for everybody up there. And then I put up this all kind of ties together, a video by John Lennox. Do you know who John Lennox is? He is one of my favorite people. I could listen to Lennox all day long. He's a Cambridge mathematician, brilliant guy. Also a theologian. It's just amazing. A philosopher of sorts, and he did one on Is AI the new religion, and can we survive AI? So all those things kind of came together, and I said, I think today I want to talk about societal collapse, or people's perception of it, but then I'm going to whittle it down to economic collapse. Okay, societal collapse is a greater subject. Economic collapse could lead to societal collapse, and vice versa. But I'm gonna keep this within the small area of economic collapse. What you should be thinking, whether it's coming, and I already gave you my answer on that is not. But you should still listen. This is because the lesson is not is it coming, but what you should do. Okay, whether you should even care. Okay, so we'll get to that. Before we get to that, I want to remind you that this and all of my videos are brought to you by my books, the Stonemont series. We just got the new shipment in. So people who have ordered these from me, several weeks ago, their orders are coming out, and I've got another one coming in. These are the complete Stonemont set. What I call the complete plan for preparing for, surviving, and rebuilding after a total collapse of everything. They've been selling huge around the world since 2017, and if you haven't read them, I do suggest this be the very next thing you do. People say it has changed the way they prepare, changed the way they think about things, and some have even said it changed their lives, and that's great because that's why I wrote them. I tried to pack every bit of information that I could into a great story, so you don't even realize you're learning, but it's going to change the way you think about preparedness. Okay, it's the story of a prepared family who, as a result of their preparedness, is able to not only survive but live well after a total collapse of everything, and then not only themselves but help other people and start to rebuild community. Okay, so you can get them a couple of different ways. You can get them through Amazon. That link is down below. You can also get them the better way directly through me, through our website, through our website, stonemont.us. That link is down below. When you get them directly from me, I sign each one for you. I write a note in each one for you. You can buy them as a set and get a discount. You can't do that through Amazon, but we save money when we ship them as a set because it's less money per book in packaging, handling, postage, everything like that. We pass that on to you. Plus, I put in the Stonemont notebook for you, and everybody loves that. It is the reversion, the revival, the renewal, and appeal to heaven, the blessings of freedom, hostages to fortune, and on wings like eagles. And there you have it. If you haven't read them, make this the next thing you do. Links down below. And yes, I have another order coming, another shipment coming for everybody who's ordering within the last couple of weeks. But if you order them now, I do want to warn you about this. If you order them from me, you have to wait a few weeks. We just get snowed under with orders. So, but we'll get them to you. Okay. What's this about an economic collapse? Okay. And it's probably good that I'm doing this on a Monday, the start of the work week, the start of the business week. And people, they've come through the weekend and kind of relaxing. Now they're back at thinking, how do I make a living? How, what's going on in the world? What are the headlines saying? What is the shape of the economy? Where's the stock market? Where's gold? Where's Bitcoin? All this. Think about for a minute, and I'm telling you, it shouldn't matter to you. Okay? Simple as that. Think about what an economic collapse might look like. Okay, does that mean a banking collapse to you, to where you can't go to the bank and get anything out of your account? You ought to be ready for that, right? Because you keep cash at home, right? The very first lesson in my first book, The Reversion, is have cash. Have cash when you're out and about, but also have cash at home. You should have, whatever you can afford. You should have as much at home as you can. I mean, up to a limit, or maybe not up to a limit, depending on how secure it is. If you're a person with a huge mansion on top of a mountain and you got a bunker underneath it with a bunch of fire safes, well, keep all your $100 million in it. Fine with me. That's a little more than I've got, right? and most of you. But it depends on what you. If you can have a few months of living expenses in cash at home, that's great. If you can't, don't get all upset. Okay, you work towards it. Baby steps. Work towards it. Not everybody has, and most people don't have that. Yeah, not everybody. Most people don't have that. The figures show or studies say that the average American couldn't come up with $1,000 in an emergency in cash. Okay, that's sad, but I believe it. And if that's you, don't be satisfied with being average. Work until you can work your way out of that. You should, if everything, if the bank shut down, you should not have to go to the bank. You should have the cash you need at home. Now, what would be another way that the economy would collapse? Well, the dollar collapses, right? Because of all these things you've heard from these people, these fearmongers about BRICS and all this, and the U.S. dollar is losing its international trade power. Excuse me. And for whatever reason, inflation just explodes. Okay, to where you're having to take money, a wheelbarrow of money, down to the store to get a loaf of bread, like Weimar Germany. Okay. Now, some would have you believe that that's going to happen. They can't explain how it's going to happen. Now, we have gone through a long-term inflationary period here because of quantitative easing, and they just keep printing money. The cryptos are kind of fighting that, but they're not doing that as much as they used to. I'm going to give you a secret right here, by the way. I heard somebody on a channel mention this, and I don't even remember who, but it was somebody who was very concerned about the national debt. I'll tell you this secret. Don't worry about it. And I'm not going to explain it why. Do your own research. And some will say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, okay, whatever. Do your own research and you'll find out. The national debt is never meant to be paid back. Okay? That is a non-issue, guys. It keeps driving up interest rates, yes. It keeps driving up taxes on future generations, yes. But that should not bother you as a PMP, a preparedness-minded person, which I hope most of you are. And even if you're just a prepper, that lower tier, I hope that you develop yourself into a preparedness-minded person, meaning you've made it a part of your life. Okay. So whether they continue to prep money and devalue the dollar, which is inflation, which results in increasing prices, okay, it shouldn't matter to you. Now, how can that be? Let me get back to that in a second. Well, no, I'll get to it now. It shouldn't, because you already should be well stocked. I've told you this before. I make, gosh, what would it be? 500-600% profit on a can of corn. Right. I mean, is that? Have you made that on your gold? Because every time Kelly needs a can of corn, or green beans, or anything else in a can, or chili beans, or all the stuff that we use all the time, or pasta and all that, she comes down into the bunker, or asks somebody else to go down and get it and bring up a can of corn. Now, a can of corn costs $1.79 at the store now, but we use corn that I bought years ago for 29 cents. Okay, that's how preparedness makes your life better. Now, most of you know this. More people know it than do it. Okay, and when we need spaghetti, okay, well, we come down and we get spaghetti that we paid 77 cents a pound for, sometimes less than that, okay, because it stores for years and years and years. So when prices are rising, it shouldn't bother you as a PMP. Now, see, we're talking about the difference between what affects the world and what affects you. You see, I look at all these other channels, and they spend all of their time talking about all the bad things that are going on in the world. You know what? You can't affect what happens in the world. You cannot. You can't change it. Even knowing about it doesn't change it. Even knowing about it doesn't help you prepare for it. But too many people who consider themselves preppers are addicted to this daily dose of bad news of what's going on in the world, right? Shouldn't affect you a bit. Now, if something happens and somebody the cyber attack and the grid goes down, yeah, it's going to affect you, but it shouldn't affect you that much. Okay, that's what my books are about: grid down, CME, how a family who was prepared to the right extent was able to continue living a high quality life. Now, right here, many people will say, well, you can't do that, to which I reply with my favorite quote: those who say something can't be done shouldn't interrupt those who are doing it, right? Okay. So, whatever happens in the world, and they're trying to get you sucked into caring about I care about Israel, Iran, care about Russia, Ukraine, care about China, Taiwan, care about this, care about that. Stop putting all of your energy into that and put that energy into preparing. Okay? Because if you're prepared, that stuff isn't going to hurt you. It's really not. If you're preparing, that stuff may put you ahead of the game. How could that possibly happen? Well, as I say, one of the problems, one of the things that can happen is going through an extreme inflationary period. Okay, in which case the price of everything goes up. Inflation drives prices up. It's not the same thing, but inflation, which is a devaluation of the currency, drives prices up. Okay, well, if you have everything that you need, that doesn't bother you that much. But there's a second part of that, because as I have so often hammered, you need to be increasing your financial preparedness all the time. Every day you should, and this is where I lose a lot of people who think they're preppers and they're not. You should be thinking about or trying or developing every single day a way to make more money. The 3 M's: make more money. Here's where I lose other people. Those people who seem to think that there is some moral high ground in being poor. There's nothing moral about being poor, and yet there's a lot of people in the prepper community. I use the word community. Maybe in that sense there is a community. No, but too many people who consider themselves preppers seem to take pride in being poor. Guys, being poor is nothing to be proud of, unless I don't know why it would be. Okay. So you need to better yourself, and making more money is simply a matter of bettering yourself. And this is why I'm so surprised that there are so many people in the prepper world who seem to have this poverty pride, that they say that they want to better themselves, they want to better their opportunities, they want to learn new skills, they want to do this, they want to do that, they want to make themselves more independent from the system. Well, they say they want to do it, better themselves in that way, but they don't want to better themselves as far as their financial situation. Okay, they want to better themselves financially, have more money to be able to prepare better, and you will be able to prepare better the more money you have. It's as simple as that. So that's two reasons why it shouldn't bother you if we go through an inflationary phase. Okay, because you already have your stuff, and I know that most of you don't have everything. So this is why I'm saying this: work towards having everything you need, so that if you're hit with this, or the grid goes down, whatever, well, okay, that's fine. Let me go get a cup of coffee and watch the world go by, right? That's what real preparedness is. Not sitting around complaining about how bad things are or the problems of the world. Now, another thing that could happen is, what if we go through a stock market crash, okay, like 1929? You know what happens in a crash like that? Does gold go up? Here's one of the things that these Ramsey guys said that was exactly right. Is that no, we don't have gold. We don't keep gold and silver. And guys, I'm not trying to offend you if you have gold or silver. So, every time I say something like this, people will come back and almost take it personally. Hey, if you want gold and silver, have at it. Have fun. But the thing is like they said on this, gold hadn't been used as a medium of exchange since the Roman Empire. So no, it's not a medium of exchange. And then people will say, well, I don't have gold or silver for that. I don't have it as an investment, although when it's going up, they say it's an investment. But no, when it's going down, they say, well, no, or not going up very much. They said, no, I have it as a store of value. Okay, well, what happens in a deflationary depression? Because all these people are talking about a depression, right? It's funny that the people who are talking about depression are also telling you to buy gold. Okay, what happens to gold? Does gold skyrocket? Let's talk about the depression, right? When a loaf of bread was a nickel. This is a juxtaposition to a loaf of bread being a wheelbarrow full of money, right? So a loaf of bread is a nickel, or a pound of bologna is a nickel. Okay, what's your gold worth? $1? Maybe $2, $3, $4? Now think about this. Really, I'm serious. Think about this. So for people who bought gold at $2,500, and some even bought it at $3,000 an ounce, and now it's worth $4 or $40. I don't care. Somebody come along and say gold's never been worth $4. I don't care what it's worth. $4, $40. Okay, so you've lost $3,000. Here's the thing. What could you have done with that $3,000 that you paid for 1 ounce of gold that is now worth $40? What could you have bought that would prepare you to live through bad times in a good way? Does that make sense? Okay. People don't think about that, because people get wrapped up in these truisms that are just sent out there in the preparedness world. And they don't think about, the reality of what would actually happen. So think about it. You hear all that thumping up there? I hope he's doing a good job. Think about this. Is an economic collapse in the near future? My answer to you is no. So stop listening to those people who keep telling you that you're in a depression. Maybe they are. I mean, maybe they're so depressed mentally that they're just in a depression. Or maybe they're not doing very well. Maybe they're not doing very well. In which case, why do you want to listen to somebody who's not doing very well? Right? Okay. I take hits sometimes. I had somebody leave a comment. I took it off because I just don't let stupid comments. Maybe I should leave them up. I don't know. It's just, I don't like idiots. Somebody came on and said, you'd have a lot more credibility if you were poor. And I thought, what? What? Really? Anyway, some people actually think like that. So these people who are trying to tell you that we're in a recession or a depression, they might be. Maybe they're doing poorly, in which case, why are you listening to them? It's up to you. Okay? When things go bad, they're not going to be there to help you. And just, trying to, misery loves company, and everybody getting together and talking about how bad things are isn't going to help you or your kids out. It's not going to help feed your kids. What helps feed your kids and help your family do well is doing well now and prepping up. Level up your prepping. My son said something. My son just graduated high school yesterday, and I was talking to him, and I said, you looking forward to starting the new life after high school? And he says, yeah. He says, I'm looking forward to dealing with people on my level. And he put it right, because my son, he's had jobs since he bought his own car when he was 15. Own car, own insurance, everything, with jobs that he had. Sometimes he had more than one job. He has always been like he's advanced to the top of wherever he has been. I mean, at 15, 16, 17, right? And now he's 18, graduating high school, just graduated yesterday. And now he's going into several fields. I won't say what they are now, but he can. And what he said is, I'm looking forward to dealing with people of my level. It doesn't mean that other people weren't as smart, and he wasn't putting other people down. He lives at a different level than other people his age. And you need to live at a different level and prepare at a different level than these people who are always singing the blues and telling you how bad things are. Okay, that we're in a recession, we're in a depression, things are bad, economic collapse is coming, you better buy gold, because that is exactly the wrong advice. And they don't even understand it, but I hope you do. So, isn't economic collapse coming? In my opinion, no. But you should prepare as if it were, because that will enable you to continue living, to not only continue to live a good life after a collapse of everything, but to improve your life now. And that is what we always talk about on integrative preparedness. Not just, it's a matter of preparing to live well, separated from all of the external systems over which we have little or no control. Not just preparing to do well after a collapse, but to improve the quality of your life now. Okay, that's right. And that is the story that is the Stonemont story. So I'll remind you one more time. This is the story of a prepared family who, as a result of hard work, smart choices, and there's a line in there, they worked hard and they were smart with their money. They weren't rich people. It wasn't like that show Homestead, some millionaire builds a compound on top of a mountain. These were people, this is a much better story, I'll be real honest. A story of a normal family who, as a result of their decisions, were able to live a better life then, continue living a high-quality life after the collapse of everything, and help other people. That is such an important part of preparedness, helping other people. The reversion, the revival, the renewal, an appeal to heaven, the blessings of freedom, hostages to fortune, and on wings like eagles. Get them if you haven't. You will love them. It will change the way you look at preparing. And like I say, some people said it's changed their lives, actually. 2 ways, Amazon, links down below, or the better way, and I love it when you order them straight from me, directly from me, through our website, stonemont.us, so I can sign them and write a note in there to you, as long as you're willing to wait a few weeks. Because we're always running behind, we're always backed up, but I love it when you do it that way. So remember that link's also down below. So think about what I said. Don't worry about an economic collapse, but plan for it. Okay, there's a difference between worrying and planning. Such a difference. Okay, and remember also that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. Get out there and do something, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.